This camera. Thank you.
Both of you here.
Now next mark.
ये वाला one.
Thank you.
Agastya together.
Yeah, look here.
Center. Yes.
Now here.
Agastya bhai idhar.
Now here.
Agastya bhai idhar. Bhai center look.
कपड़ा बताओ कैसे पहने.
And I'm really personally very pleased to have all of you with us because today we don't just celebrate a film, we're celebrating a life. And you know, I'm gonna start the panel immediately by perhaps Dinesh, you can talk to us a little bit about why this film was such an important and imperative story to tell, and what made you guys decide to tell it.
You know, we have often said that, there are a lot of films you want to make, but the idea is to make the films that you cannot not make. And I would say in 20 years of my career, the story of Arun Khetrapal is probably the best story I ever heard. In fact, I remember a friend of mine, Billy Bhatta, narrated this film to me in his studio, and I thought he was making it up. I really didn't think that, first of all, he's 21 and he's Indian. And it made me realize what a 21-year-old Indian can do. Then I had the good fortune of going to Pune Horses, which is the oldest regiment. And when I heard stories about him, I had, at that point around that time, lost my father. And it is a story about what a young 21-year-old can do, and also the relationship between a son that's gone and his father. And I think that resonated, so it became a little personal. So Ikkis became a bit of a zid. We were supposed to make it before COVID, and of course we couldn't shoot a film of this magnitude during COVID, and then we all went our separate ways, but somehow the story kept haunting us. And I'm so glad. I was with Shriram at the office yesterday and I saw the film, and whenever we put this film on and we try and watch a particular section, we end up watching the whole film. So I think in my career of 20 years is the best film we made. And that makes me feel very proud, and I think this one is owed to my father. And that's why it's so special.
And like you said, we made this movie over 4 years. And I've seen the trailers, I've seen some of the rushes, I've heard even the stories. I also saw the Centurion that your people tried to kind of put together. Making a big war movie, what was the I must be crazy budget kind of request that came in at some point, to make a movie of this scale?
I think everything about this film was crazy. Because a tank battle is easier said than done. And I have this, sweet looking gentleman sitting on my left, Shriram Raghwan, but he is the purest filmmaker we have in this country. He is relentless and he looks very sweet type, but he's not going to give in. So his only condition was that the war needs to look like a war. And I promise you, the way everyone on this stage has given their life for this film, but when you watch it, you're going to feel you're sitting inside a tank. So this Christmas, what this film will give you is courage. So the way we say it is, this Christmas, give yourself some courage and go and watch Ikkis. And I feel that every 21-year-old, whether you have him as a parent, a brother, or you are a 21-year-old, by seeing what Arun Khetrapal did, it will change how you look at life. You will be proud to be Indian and you will be proud to be 21.
It really does get you to kind of get your shackles up and really feel all
She's
the
the only one who's
moment.
seen an hour of the film. She's the only person I know who's seen an hour of the film. So you should actually tell us.
I have to say, I've also heard the stories from some of the people who were there on the ground, so I think I have that advantage as well. And I think what's fantastic for me was how many moments I was kind of able to point out and say, this is that, because it was exactly like the stories that we've told, or the things that we have seen. And so I think that for me was something that really came together. And I think it's obviously worked very well. Shriram and Dinesh, you guys have worked together now after Badlapur on Ikkis.
Shriram, you answer that. How was it working with me after Badlapur? Since they are slightly different films.
No, Badlapur was a sort of a relatively small film and all that. But this one actually, I happened to be here by chance, because on a particular day, I had gone to Deva's office to discuss, basically to reject 3 or 4 stories that had come to me for Badlapur too, because I didn't like any of them. I was sitting there waiting and there was a conversation going on between Dinu and Vinny Padda about the film, And I just asked, who's doing this story? I just liked the story, so who's doing this story? And they said, nobody's attached right now. So, shall I continue?
Wow.
Yeah, I think we want to do it. And I'm like, Badlapur to means revenge engine, this and that. And suddenly I said, give me 5 minutes. I went out, stood there. I said, why not? What happens? And the story really sort of connected with me. And there must have been a 10-minute narration which I heard. So yeah, so sometimes you say, you choose the story, sometimes the story chooses you. So it was quite fortunate that I was there, this happened, and after that it's been a journey, it's been a long journey for us. But something invisible was guiding us. We used to take Arun's photograph we have shot extensively all over North India. And we should take Arun's photograph. I know, it was like, filmmaking also was like a bit of a war, but yeah, hopefully we won the photo.
Okay, I'm gonna also.
The story is actually, it's a story of journeys, there is a journey of a boy becoming a man. There's a journey of his father going back to his roots and discovering certain truths about his father, So it's a very I won't call it an action film, though it's got some stupendous action, I would say. But
It's not an action film, but it's got stupendous action.
So anyway, what I need to say is the action is effective. We try to make it as real as we can. And so there are 2 stories. How the stories coincide, how they sort of intersect, and all is really what the film is all about. So when you watch the film, I think anybody who sort of keeps asking, why you make this kind of film, when they watch the film, the story, the answer is there.
No, I think so much about this film is now, one of the things that we were talking about this backstage is when, between managing explosions, wide angles, it's a massive kind of canvas that you're trying to make this film on. And you're also dealing with a very young cast. So what was the most challenging part of actually making the film?
I mean, the cast was too good because I had no tensions of, what normally happens in certain films are like waiting for actors to land up and all that. So here the cast they were all one bond kind of thing. And also we were shooting in, adverse climates and so on. So we have to bond because they're all suffering the same thing and enjoying the same thing also. So we used to have even the tanks. These tanks don't exist, So they exist only in museums or outside some army cantonment you will see, And inside, there might be snakes also. It's like that. So how do we get these tanks? The one option was to make it do the film with other tanks, with real today's tanks. But somehow the first people we met in research, they told us, try and get those tanks because the centurions and the patterns And tank battles are like, I mean, how many years now it hardly happens. And this was, I think, the first tank battle we are seeing in the film. So we used to fabricate those tanks, and there was a lot of trial and error in that. I remember once I said, the tanks are ready, and this tank is ready. Take a video and send me. And the video they took me is going, and goes and hits something and stops. It's like that. So we start, again the 15 days you have to repair it, and so all these things happen.
So I have to say, I'm looking forward to that post on it.
No, I think but the tanks also are
Shriram would feature them. But you know, you said what made you make this film? Isn't it unreal that a 21-year-old boy, when you see the trailer, you get some idea, has done the unthinkable. You know, he's blown up 20 tanks, he's gone one against so many. But what surprised me is no one knew this story, the civilians. Because you know, like when we all heard it, how it surprised us is what we want to do to the viewer. Like whatever you've seen in the trailer is at the tip of the iceberg. When you come in, you'll be consumed and you'll really, really go home, whether it's your brother, you know, your son, you'll tell him that you can do anything. And I have really young kids. And when you see this film, it'll give the youth hope, it'll give the youth direction in a very, very entertaining and engaging manner. Because Arun was actually in the first half very relatable. Because he's trying to be perfect but is flawed. You know, and the fact that this is a true story about us that we didn't know is the reason to tell the story.
No, absolutely. I absolutely agree. But that's why figure out how did you come upon this story, because you're absolutely right. It's very sad, but it's a story we somehow have not seen outside of anybody in the army knows the story.
So we have Binny Pata, right? And he's was obsessed with making this film. So he came and you know he's been. I think he's also from a boy become a very old man making this film. So and you know Shriram has really grilled him. So Shriram again looks very, but a lot of people I think. We should hear from Agastya what all Shriram made you go through to make this film.
First of all, hello and thank you so much for having us here. I think this experience for me is one of a lifetime, and it's really special that you're here with us. For the people who don't know, Captain Malhotra at the time served with Arun K. Kripa. So to have you here and do this with you is a huge honor. So I would first like to thank you for being here, and it's a huge privilege for us. So I think this film has meant a lot to me. I signed this film when I was 21, and the film is called Ikkis. That was my first kind of entry into the character, into this world. I was truly blessed that they thought I was capable to do it. It was a huge risk. It was a huge responsibility, and something I will never take lightly, because when you're dealing with the Indian Army, when you're dealing with such brave people, you must do them the right thing and give it your best. And Shriram sir encouraged me to do that every day. And if I had to discuss what I learned the most from sir is that if you truly love something and you're obsessed with it, it'll pay off someday. And I don't mean about this film, I mean generally. And that's something that's been so valuable, and I've had such a privilege to work with such brilliant actors. I think Jaideep sir is one of my most favorite actors of all time. And I'm not just saying that because he sat here. Simmer's first film, it was a privilege to share the screen with her. She was so confident. And our song, which is just released today, was a blast to shoot with her. I was shocked. It took me 4 songs to learn how to lip sync. But she, from the first song, knew what she was doing. So I think I was surrounded by such professionals and such experts. I felt at ease. And I'm just really grateful I got this opportunity. And hopefully everyone feels the same when they see the film.
I think in the rushes that I have seen, literally grown into this role, right? 4 years in the making, you sort of look, you can tell the timelines and you can tell the kind of progression of that. What was your emotional connection with the character? Because it's not like somebody who had conversation with.
So, I mean, without trying to sound corny, it's like there's something about being Indian that connects you to the army. It's the same sentiment we all share. If it's the same way we feel when we watch a World Cup cricket final, there's certain emotions that we all share. It doesn't differentiate. So when I first heard it was about a young boy who was a Paramveer Chakra, I was already that sense of responsibility came in. my first trip to learn about Arun Khetapal was to Pathankot, as we discussed backstage. And I remember getting there, and his statue was right in front of me. And I looked up, and I swear I got shivers. And I'm not trying to sound a bit weird, but it really, I felt goosebumps in that moment, just seeing the aura of what he had done. You know, being 21 is a very young age. Being young in this country, you usually get told what is right, what is wrong. But here's a boy who came and decided he'll do what he thinks is right. And that conviction to me is deeply inspiring. You know, when we're young, we're not very logical. We think from our heart and we follow our heart. As we get older, we start thinking, okay, maybe I should do it like this. But Arun Khetapal for me didn't follow logic, he followed his heart. And I'll continue the rest of my life trying to live like that, is at least the message I would take from this.
Yeah, I think, you know, at 21, you was in the most idealistic period. After Bangkok, what of Arun do you think has stayed with you?
If I'm being completely honest, I think it's still with me. And I'm not just saying this because it's a great promotional thing to say. I truly mean that. And that I have to credit two people majorly, Shriram sir and Billy Bhatta, as you mentioned earlier. They enforced the idea of Arun Khetapal to me so deeply that, as sir said, we took his blessings before each shot. And just to get it right for him. I don't think anyone here, of course, would love for the film to do well, but the first person we would want a thumbs up from was his family, his brother, who saw the film, and anyone involved. So that to us is way more important than what the result or the numbers or anything else is.
You know, so what's amazing is, okay, sir saw the film, and the first time he had met Agastya was maybe not the best meeting, where he said, how will he do the film, what has he done, you know, and for him to see the film, and as you know, there's no footage of Arun Khetapal anywhere. There's some excerpts of his voice. And when he saw the film, you know, there's a small video which will come out in a bit where he looked at that same man looking at him and saying, you know, there's such an uncanny similarity. So I think the fact that he was 21 really helped him. And visually, and also when you spend some time with Agastya, you realize that he's a lot in his belief system like Arun Khetapal. You know, in a very small way. He's done much larger things. But I think that there's a common thread in all 21-year-olds where they can dream big and they don't have the concept of fear. Life has not caught up with them there, and I think that is clearly visible in this film. Like, you know, I think I told Agastya, and I think after 15 years I felt that I said I really, really like this film. And last night I told him that I'm going to really cry if this film doesn't do well. And not because it's expensive, but because it means so much to me. And I had to say this to Jaideep. My wife saw some sections of the film, and I know sir, you've done a lot of work, and we've never met on this film for the last couple of months, and we've actually met today. Everyone knows Jaideep's a phenomenal actor, but you have to see how his part is walking such a thin line.
It is such a thin line.
And his eyes, sir, we got a lot of women are going to compliment your eyes in this film, but he is incredible. He is what ties this film together, and I think we need to give him a round of applause for this being Jaideep being Jaideep. Thank you for doing this, sir.
You know, actually, I'm going to take you from there and ask you to, like you said, it is the commander himself was, but also, or, you know, the mixed emotions that he would carry for his entire time about Arun, simply because Arun was the fakre hit, right? So, how did you kind of bring that to the character? How did you kind of walk that line through?
पहले तो कुछ चीज़ें जोड़ना चाहूँगा इस चीज़ में। मैं बहुत सारे लोग जानते हैं, सर्वे जानते हैं, परस्ते जानते हैं कि मैं फौजी बनना चाहता था। So I've been there. You know, there is this place called how my first introduction with Khetapal. I was there on a peeping ceremony, passing out parade ceremony, and the peeping ceremony. I'm sure बहुत सारे लोगों ने देखा होगा, सारे ऑफिसर्स ऐसे सीढ़ियों पर खड़े होते हैं, डंडे अपनी जो कैप होती है वो हवा में उछालते हैं, then the peeping ceremony starts. So the name is Khetapal, the Khetapal auditorium. I mean, I am. So in 1999, I think, if I'm not wrong, somewhere around 2000, I went there and I saw that name that big. So I asked my friend who was passing out from Aminat, who's that guy? So that was my first introduction to Arun Khetarpal. That was 2000. So this is 2024 and Arun is always closed. Then I went to Nagar long back, like 7, 8, 10 years back. It was again that boy, that friend of mine. That time boy, of course, 19.5 years old. He joined armed forces, basically army. So that time 54 and 10 whatever. So I saw again Arun Khetarpal again and again because now Ahmednagar is a
Yes, it's pulled away from all armor division. Yes.
So that was the introduction to Arun Khetarpal, and the film came to me and I like, 1 second, what I'm going to do? Sir told me about this character who's playing two different timeline, two different age, and I got scared because in my mind it is very important to cast right people in this kind of film, but he was very adamant. उनको लगा कि मैं बूढ़ा होने से कतरा रहा हूँ, बट वो मैं डरा हुआ था सर कि मैं वो प्ले कर पाऊंगा कि नहीं प्ले कर पाऊंगा, बिकॉज एज वी ऑल नो हमने कभी वॉर नहीं देखी। और एक छोटी चीज जब बात कर रहे थे अरुण खेतरपाल के बारे में, आई डोंट नो कितने लोगों के घर में कोई एक फौजी है, चाहे वो किसी भी पोस्ट पे हो। आई थिंक जब कोई आपका अपना उस सरहद पे खड़ा होता है ना, और जो फील आपको होता है जब वॉर होती है, ये मैं भी नहीं जानता, लेकिन बहुत क्लोज दोस्त रहे हैं जिनको हमने कारगिल में खोया है, बहुत ही क्लोज, और जिसका अपना कोई ब्लड का वहाँ खड़ा होता है ना, आई डोंट थिंक कि कोई भी इमेजिन कर सकता कि 21 साल के लड़के में इतनी बहादुरी, इतना लीडरता कैसे होती है, मुझे समझ में नहीं आता। आई वेंट टू नगर व्हाइल आई वाज ट्राइंग टू फिगर आउट दिस कैरेक्टर ऑफ माइन इन द फिल्म। देयर वाज अ कोट जो कि पाकिस्तानी आर्मी ऑफिसर्स का है, उस बंदे का जो अरुण के साथ लड़ रहा था, कि जस्ट इफ आई एम टेकिंग दैट डे between 13 lancers and victory there was a boy of 21 years. That was the importance that you can feel कि एक ऑफिसर जो वहाँ बैठा था, उसने बोला कि उस दिन उस जीत में और 13 लांसर्स के बीच में जो जगह थी, वहाँ एक लड़का खड़ा था जो सिर्फ 21 साल का था। So you know the importance of that story to be told to the world. We knew, and the other part I didn't know. Sir told me, and I was mesmerized by it, and I hope ये फिल्म लोगों तक पहुँचे। उसका जैसे सर ने बोला कि हम परेशान हुए इस फिल्म को कि अगर वो नहीं पहुँची अपनी जगह पे, क्योंकि ये कहानी बताई जानी बहुत ज़रूरी है, ये सुनना सबको बहुत ज़रूरी है, जानना बहुत ज़रूरी है कि उस दौर में क्या हुआ था। उस वक्त जब एक लड़का, उसकी बहुत सुंदर सी लाइन जो आप सुनोगे, माय गन इज स्टिल वर्किंग सर, आगे की कहानी फिल्म में देखिएगा।
आ चुका है फिल्म, इसको बोलते हैं, बोलो भाई क्या लाइन थी? My gun is still working. What was the line from the film?
No sir, I will not abandon my tank. My gun is still working. I'll get these so and so's.
I'll name these guys.
And I think that's actually what's on the recording.
That's the only line we had.
That's the only recorded line we have, right?
Yeah.
Arun's voice. And that's
The
uncanny.
rest of it is, I think, Nagar's. Yeah. So, you know, we've seen you do. Congratulations! It's been a great If you had to say who on the set was kind of bringing that level of intensity to the set, who was it?
With me, there was a legend, Dharamji. I don't know the intensity, I don't know the humor. Everything he was doing on set, off set was so amazing. I'm sure everybody agrees with this, कि जब वो सेट पे आते थे, जिस तरह के माहौल में वो सबको इतना इजी करते थे, और जो रोल वो प्ले कर रहे हैं उस फिल्म में, it is not easy, it is way too difficult. ये बहुत कम लोगों को समझ में आएगी बात, क्योंकि वो कभी नहीं उस सिचुएशन में होंगे। To play Arun Khetarpal's father and himself was an army person, so वो जो एक बहुत थिन लाइन होती है, दुख कोई जज्ब कर लेने में, उसको बयान करने के बीच की जो जगह होती है ना खाली, वो धर्मजी ने कमाल निभाई। तो मेरे लिए वो बहुत स्पेशल मोमेंट्स हैं जब उनके साथ मैं जाऊँ फिर।
I can imagine. I'm going to ask similar questions before I think we can maybe perhaps talk about Dharamji a little bit more. Tell me what it was like for you to play this role, how your emotional anchor. It's a story of war, and yet you're telling the love part.
I think the love part of the story. This movie is about, of course, Alan Nepal, and I think the fact that he was just 21 years old and he had so much clarity in his decisions and what he wanted to do. I think there's a lovely quote. A country reveals itself not just by the way, not just by the people it produces, but also by the men it remembers. So I think this movie, to be a part of such a movie that tributes such a legend, I feel like that itself is such an honor. And I think I wouldn't have to be able to do a movie with, of course, our main captain, with Shriram sir, with the owner of the ship, with Dean sir, and of course Agastya and Jaideep sir, to be a part of a movie with Dharamji. I think it's very special. It's a very special movie. The name itself is Ikkis, which means a lot to me personally because it's my Nani's birthday, and just a few months before signing this movie, I had lost her, and so somewhere it felt like it was a sign that when this movie came and that the name was Ikkis, so मुझे ऐसा लगा कि कहीं ना कहीं it was Nani sort of giving me her blessing.
This was set in the 70s, right? The late 60s and 70s. How did you prepare for being in what is totally different time?
It was, I think, one of the most fun things of this. It was a collaborative effort, of course. The hair, the makeup team, everyone, Shriram sir, Pooja ma'am, they all helped us with, sir used to always wear these amazing t-shirts with his favorite movies, and I think one of them was Tere Ghar Ke Samne, and there were other movies that he had told me to watch, Aradhana, and I used to also I made a playlist for my character, Kiran, and it was just all these songs that we all know and love from that era. And so I used to, while getting ready, I would listen to those songs, and of course we did workshops and a lot of other things which really helped me get into that zone. And there was also I think I noticed something about movies back then and the love, about how it was so soft and unspoken, and there was this longing in it and about it, which I think is very special. मुझे लगता है कि I think that that's what we try to do and just get that essence of it.
I think in some of the scenes that I was able to see, it really does come through, and it's hard, finding love in those situations and then being a part. Actually, before we talk about the stalwart and the legend who is unfortunately no longer with us,
Simba's casting, and I remember the day we cast her, and we were all sitting together, and I think you said, how did she go? She's from that time. She's actually not from today, and if you just look, not just visually, but also who she is as a person, and today's youth surprises you, they're actually more organic than anyone else, so they're actually going backwards. So I think the film has chosen people, like she said about her Nani, but what will actually give you an insight that one of my favorite sections in the film is the chapter at NDA, where their romance blossoms and where they meet.
and you can actually see that it's
So the AD is that one.
period film.
So the AD is the song that we've just done, and I think that we just move on the side so you can play.
Now, may I also request for an AD about Dharamji, please? think I'd love for to get maybe a story from each of you about working with the legend.
Yeah, I mean, this story, when I heard it in 2018, and I decided to do this film, so there is this character of Arun's father. Even before I had cast Arun, when I had met Agastya, I had met Dharamji and I had narrated the story to him. And he loved the story, he really connected with it. After that, I made another film, because this was taking time, there was COVID and all that. He used to call me, every week, are you making this film? Are you still making it with me and all that? So I promised, of course, they're making it with you. So for me, it's like I'm in a sense blessed that I got to work with him and spend so much time with him. And I'm just frankly regret is, of course, that he couldn't see the whole film. He saw about 70% of it. But he would have loved watching the whole film. And I hope he's watching it up there.
You know, for me, it's very emotional because Dharamji worked with 4 generations of my family. He worked with my great-grandfather, my grandfather, and I have the privilege to share screen space with him. As Sir said, it's a huge privilege, and as he shared, I'm extremely sad that he couldn't see the love he deserves for this film, and I mean it's emotional for all of us.
So I had the good fortune of working with him twice, and I think with Teri Baaton and now Ikkis, and I think, I think he's the last of his time. I feel a legend like him, who you speak to anybody, they only have love for him, and I'll tell you why. He's interested in it. So I'll tell you a story where I saw him waiting outside a lift, and he was talking with the lift man, and I don't think in our busy lives we are that interested in his story. He's earned that love by actually caring about it. And I think the first time I met him, I clearly remember it was in a makeup van, and he was talking to me, and though he was doing Teri Baaton, he was only interested in Ikkis. And he loved this story because it also was a story about going back to your page, right? Which for any person who has left his village or his home and come to a city to work, and he gets a chance to go back, there's nothing better, and all you hear from them is stories about that. And it's so surprising that he did this poem for the film. So I feel the world will miss people like that because they're not made anymore. And I think all the lives he's touched are better human beings. So more than a film, more than anything else, I think we miss the energy he brought. Okay.
Jaideep, I'll ask a little bit more about, because you actually ended up getting a lot of
I think मैं कह सकता हूँ कि ऑन स्क्रीन में श्रीराम सर ने जितना वक्त बिताया, मैं एक एक्टर उस फिल्म में जब सबसे ज़्यादा सीन उनके साथ है। और सर दिनों सर एकदम सही बात बोली कि वो इतना प्यार इसलिए मिला क्योंकि वो सबको उतना ही प्यार देते थे। मैं बहुत ज़्यादा पता नहीं कुछ कह पाऊँगा नहीं कह पाऊँगा, बट मैंने उन हाथों को जितने भी दिन हमने शूट किया महसूस किया है, चलते वक्त, उठते वक्त, बैठते वक्त, उन हाथों को यहाँ महसूस करता हूँ मैं आज भी। एक बार मुझे ऐसे भी बैठे थे, कुछ कहानी पूछ रहा था मैं उनसे, सडन पता नहीं वो क्या हो मेरे से वो पे आता है बोला कितना सोना होता है। मैं ऐसा हो गया था कि अगर धर्म जी मुझे बोल रहे हैं कि मैं सुंदर आदमी हूँ तो फिर दुनिया की किसी और आदमी की जरूरत नहीं है। तो इतने प्यारे कहानियाँ सुनाते थे, पोइट्री सुनाते थे। और just to give you a hint of his one-liner humor, there was a scene I was driving and it was very technical shot. तो मैं उतरा, फिर वो एक एडी पीछे लेके आया, फिर टाइम लगा दिया। नेक्स्ट टाइम आई सेड यार मैं तो गाड़ी पीछे ले जाऊँगा। वो लगाया, मैंने वापस आ गया। 2-3 बार शॉट हुआ। फाइनली वो बोलते हैं कि जब जैसे शॉट हुआ ओके हो गया तब बोलते हैं अब पुत्र होता है ड्राइविंग लाइसेंस मिल जाता। मैं ऐसा सोचो ये इंसान अभी मुझे इतने उस वक्त वो थोड़े बीमार भी थे, उस बीमारी में भी उनको एक ह्यूमर उनके दिमाग में आया कि तूने ये इतनी बार आगे पीछे करके सही जगह पे लेके आया ना, अब तुझे ड्राइविंग लाइसेंस मिल जाएगा. So he was amazing. He was amazing.
Well, I think that's it from us. I want to personally and on behalf of the entire Ahlawat Regiment thank you history and responsibility. And 25th December, we're all looking forward to it, and I hope all of us can go out there and get inspired and feel what it's like to be alive.
Just before we end, I want to thank you for hosting us first of all, and also bring attention to all the other soldiers who fought alongside Arun Khetrapal as well. Because he was young and what he did was brave, we tend to overlook the bravery of the soldiers around him as well. And without him and without your father, I don't think what he did would have been possible. So I just want to thank, and I'm not just talking about Arun Khetrapal, I'm talking about his tank driver, his loader, his gunner, and everyone involved in the Poonaw's regiment and the infantry. So there was a lot of people that I think we need to give gratitude, and starting with your father.
Genuinely, it's an honor to have this panel with you. Yeah, I really understand that.
Can we please have a huge round of applause for our moderator, Rona, along with Simar, of course, Jaideep Ahlawat. Guys, you need to keep clapping because this is how we don't get lucky every day, do we now? We have Dinesh Vijan, the man with the vision. कितनी बार भी आपने पन क्रैक कर लिया, पन कभी भी पुराना नहीं होने वाला है. There's Agastya and we've got Shriram Raghwan as well. This is crazy. This is crazy good. I have a few questions for the people here. Of course, 25th of December, we're going to wait for the film. We're very excited. We're very honored that this is being made. Dinesh Vijan, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how 2025 has just been. In fact, every time there's a film that's coming from your kitty, and we're like, ये थोड़ी सी eccentric होगी, लेकिन we're going to take back something home with all gusto and with all Agastyo as well. Agastya, thank you for being a part of this as well. सबसे पहला सवाल जयदीप के लिए. जयदीप sir, वैसे तो आपका trait, which is the most unique for you, which trait would you choose? थोड़ी सी खुद की आपको वाहवाही करनी है, थोड़ा मुश्किल होगा आपके लिए, because you're such a humble person. But
नहीं, आप actually ये actually बाकी से पूछना चाहिए कि कौन सी ऐसी चीज़ अच्छी लगती है.
ये भी सही है. I think that's also.
अपने मुंह में मिट्टू बनना की अच्छी आदत है.
तो जरा हम दिनेश विजन सर से पूछते हैं कि
while you were saying that, I was thinking, and I've had the good fortune of working with Irfan, sir, and you're talking to him, and what he goes and does is almost God-given. It's like you feel what he's done is he connects with you in a way, like on a screen you feel he's actually there. So after that, if I've seen it somewhere, I've seen it in Jaideep. And I mean that service and I want to do selfishly more and more work with him because what he does to a character is, and Irfan meant a lot to me. So, and while you asked that question, I was thinking, and that's the answer honestly that came to me. And, maybe we do some more work and you'll make me miss him a little less. Thank you.
I think that's emotional and special at the same time, goosebumpy as well. Shriram sir, अगर आपको एक special trait, unique trait, rare trait, Agastya बताना थी, what would you choose?
अरे बाप.
अरे बाप.
They are all special people. They have worked with them for 2 years now. I love all of them.
Yeah, but if there's one thing that you could pick, just one, what would that be?
This guy is very sort of, he's very grounded. But he's like, he surprised me with the amount of boot camp and all the things he did. He's always with a smile, So he's Raghuwan him. And he's still there and he's smiling and he's done a superb job with the film. So you all should say that, not me.
Superb. So we're waiting for 25th. We can see it in the trailer. I'm 100% sure it's going to be absolutely true. Simar ke baare mein there's a
somehow we got her out from the first moment we met, and she's also Hindi movie buff. So and she saw my t-shirt and she recognized. I said, "They're good girls." Otherwise, most people don't know a concept of film kya hai. So she said that this. So we got along and she's fun. And actually with all my actors, with Jaideep for example, I mean, every scene which he's there in, I mean, there will be his contribution, not just as an actor, but also in the writing and sort of the whole, because we discuss the scenes, we go over it, that's the whole fun of it, you know, so they're very, each one, some of it happens, you know, where everybody's contributions really adds to the film, but this film is something, you know, even though my name is Lal, directed by and all that jazz, and they put national level also, which is I get embarrassed, but I'm saying this had an extremely terrific team, you know, it's like almost like an army, it's like there's a lot of people who have to come together and do something. So this film is, I mean, my DOP, my editor, my co-writers and my sound, everything, music, all this is there, of course actors and so sometimes even though, you know, it's taken some time, it's been great fun as we, you know, as we see it in front of us.
Right. Of course, it'll be too long for us to discuss everyone's rare traits, but Jaideep Ahlawat, मैं आपसे पूछना चाहती हूँ श्रीराम राघवन की कोई एक
I would love to answer. Thank you for asking this.
Good, I'm glad.
You know, Shriram sir, I always wanted to work with him, and I didn't realize कि इस तरह का कुछ किरदार करने को मिलेगा. But the beauty to work with Shriram sir is that he can be a really, really innocent child and the brilliant filmmaker at the same time. Like at the same moment, because I remember this, he's listening to me almost every day. जब अगला दिन कोई scene होता है तो we used to sit and we used to discuss the scene and अच्छा ये क्या होना चाहिए इसके बारे में क्या होना. He's not asking, he's not confused. He's just trying to make it more layered and taking very small hits from the co-actors and the writer and the ADs and everybody is there. Like 15 people are there, and he's just listening. Because he just put the ball in your court and there are 15 people sitting and they're just playing with them. And he's watching how many better shots they can get. And he is, you know, joining those forces. And the next day you will see the scene in a very different light. And you could see his face. If somebody said something which is very nice, you could see Shriram sir's face where it lights up. Like, oh my God, I got something more. Just to you know layer that thing into that scene. I love that quality. I love that process of a filmmaker who is not that okay, I am the director and I'll make it how I want to make it. So it's always about that collaboration of people, the mind and writers, directors, actors. You don't feel like अच्छा हाँ वो actor है वो आएगा अपनी band से उतर के तब हम काम करें नहीं. You feel the part of that unit. And I love that.
So you know, this is not limited only to the actors. So Shriram, I'm going to let the cat out of the... So I've known Shriram for most of my filmmaking life, and he has this rare trait where in the night he will sit and he'll write a letter to a very legendary filmmaker like Hitchcock, and he'll write, this is the scene I'm shooting tomorrow, or this is the story, and somewhere where I'm stuck. He'll write, you know, I'm stuck here, what do you think I should do? This is not the strange part. He'll reply as Hitchcock what the answer is.
That's amazing.
Okay, so because Shriram Raghwan is my favorite filmmaker, I thought I'll just take
your time.
side now. So what we're going to do on this film, just to make it more interesting, because generally we are here talking about a film, I want this film to mean as much to y'all and us when we are talking. So I think what we're going to do is, from tomorrow it's 21 days till Ikkis releases. So as soon as Shriram gives us the copy, which is we're trying to get him to give it at least 11 days before, whenever or wherever we travel, we will first show the film and then talk about it. You know, that's how much we love this film. So about 10 days before we start doing it, and on the 21st of December, which is 4 days before the release, we're going to watch this film in Bombay along with 21 other cities where people from all across will come together and see the film together. And that's what we've decided, because it's easier to say it's the best film we've made. We need to put it out and get people involved so there's more conversation. So that's 2 bits of news which should be fun. You know?
Fabulous. Cannot wait at all. Lots of geniuses on.
Talk about any dance thing.
बिल्कुल भी नहीं. Sir, आप just जैसे आप अनप्रेडिक्टेबल एक्टर हैं, आप just predict मत कीजिए कि यहाँ कौन सा सवाल आएगा. अगर आपको सवाल का जवाब देने का मन ना करे, you can absolutely say shut up Prerna and we will move on. because that's how much we love you. Jaideep sir, अगर आप कोई खाने की आइटम होते तो क्या होते? समोसा, गुलाब जामुन, चीला या पैनकेक या भेलपूरी?
I think इनमें से होता तो मैं समोसा हूँ।
समोसा।
अब ये मत पूछना क्यों?
बिल्कुल नहीं सर, वही मैं कह रही हूँ। अगर अब प्रिडिक्ट नहीं, मूविंग ऑन, अगर जब आपको बहुत ज़्यादा जोर से भूख लग जाती है तब आपको क्या लगता है किस प्रकार के जानवर को डिपिक्ट करते हैं? इज इट अ टाइगर, अ लायन, अ काउ, अ बटरफ्लाई? व्हेन यू वेरी वेरी हंग्री, व्हाट डू यू फील लाइक?
Butterfly.
It would be.
How does butterfly feel like?
Sir, I have told you this earlier, I will say it again, do not predict.
Butterfly, butterfly. Sir.
Butterfly.
Butterfly. Butterfly, I'm not going to ask you
He
why.
starts fluttering.
That's probably it. Sir, आपकी प्लेट में सबसे ज़्यादा फाइट किस चीज़ की होती है? टेस्ट या कैलोरीज की? Because you're an actor, you have to take care of the way you look, etc. Taste या कैलोरीज? What do you find?
Depends कि उस टाइम पे मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ। अगर मैं कुछ शाह के रख कर रहा हूँ तो टेस्ट चाहिए।
जी।
पर I'm sure सर ये जानते हैं कि इस टाइम जब ये कर रहा था मैं, I has to be like तो उस वक्त कैलोरीज कम होती है।
Super. That is of course Jaideep Ahlawat sir for us. आखिरी जो कुछ सवाल हैं जयदीप सर के लिए कॉफी को लेकर हैं। सर, कॉफी आपके जीवन में कितनी मायने रखती है?
ठीक ठाक मायने।
ठीक ठाक मायने रखती है। ओके, अगर आप किसी सेलिब्रिटी के साथ में कॉफी डेट पे जाते तो आप किस सेलिब्रिटी को चूज करते सर?
अगस्त्य।
किसको? और अगस्त्य से सबसे पहला सवाल आप क्या पूछते हैं? आप नहीं जानते हैं, we are assuming that you don't know each other, you're on a date. What exactly you are asking us?
आप 21 साइन करने से पहले कितना जानते थे रोहन कपूर के बारे में?
Very nice, very nice. The last one, what is the maximum number of coffee cups you've had in a day? आपने खुद का रिकॉर्ड तोड़ दिया है and you were amazed, you couldn't sleep. What is the number, sir?
मैं बिल्कुल नहीं कह पाऊंगा कि मैंने गिने थे, बट मुझे लगता है 10 से ऊपर होंगे।
And this was around the time of shooting?
This was around the time of shooting of Maharaj.
That is crazy. Guys, can we please clap for Jaideep Ahlawat? Can we also have a huge round of applause for Ikkis? A little ansh of the Nanda ji is going to be with us for the rest of our lives thanks to this film. Dinesh Vijan, as always, I'm constantly grateful because of the entertainment you provide. Shriram Raghwan, the films that you've given, and I would reply back to myself. Agastya, wishing you all the best. Simar, to you too. Thank you so much, Ronak ma'am. Guys, can we please have a huge round of applause for Ikkis, for yourself, for being so amazing. आप जाएं उससे पहले जयदीप and everybody, यहाँ पे एक मग रखा हुआ है. If you would like to sign that, that'll be lovely. मेरा नाम प्रेरणा है. Madiha is going to come back on stage. We've got some goodies for you. So before you leave, please take the goodies as well. 25th of December, please give us your service.
25 को 21 का इंतजार है।
Ladies and gentlemen, Team Ikkis in the house. I would want all of our panelists, Shriram sir, Agastya, Dinesh ji, Jaideep. I want all of you to please go ahead and place your coffee mug on the wall of their villa before we move forward. Ladies and gentlemen, the lovely Agastya Nanda Jaideep Ahlawat, Shriram Raghwan, Dinesh Vijan, and of course, the beautiful coordinator who very, very smartly has navigated through all of the questions, Ronak Roy. Ladies and gentlemen, the last discussion for Day at Bollywood Hungama OTT India Fest Summit and Awards 2025.
Sir, center look, sir. Center.
दिनेश सर दिनेश आपका एक सोलो चाहिए थैंक यू सर थैंक यू वाओ
अगस्त्य भाई लुक किया अगस्त्य सामने अगस्त्य सामने
अगस्त्य सर
बाय सर